In this episode, I am not in jail, I promise, and I don't need to be bailed out. But in this episode, I am going to show you how to build a inexpensive, easy to build trellis that's great for growing vining plants like beans and peas, and in my case, even some Malabar spinach. So stay tuned. Hey everybody, Alan Schaefer at Custom Garden Solutions. In today's exciting episode, I'm going to show you how to build a quick, cheap, and easy trellis for growing peas and beans. And it looks something like the one right here. So you're going to need a couple things to build this trellis. First of all, you're going to need PVC. This is 3/4 inch. It normally says that on the side. You can pick this up at a lot of different big box stores, and they normally come in 10-foot lengths, and it'll probably cost you a couple bucks. The second thing you're going to need is, I'm just going to use a hex saw. And don't worry, it doesn't take a lot of work to cut through the PVC, kind of cuts through like butter, 4 or 5 strokes and you're through. The next thing you're going to need is a connector. This is a T connector, or a 3-way, and it's, make sure you get one that's 3/4 inch, 3/4 inch, 3/4 inch, and you're going to need some 90s. Make sure again, 90-degree or right angle, and it's 3/4 inch, 3/4 inch, because there are connectors out there that may be 1 inch and 3/4, or 3/4 and 1/2. So make sure you get 3/4 inch, 3/4 inch, because all we're dealing with is 3/4 inch. Next thing you're going to need is a tape measure and maybe a marker of some sort to mark where you're going to cut. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the piece that goes on top. So we're going to need 2 90s and 2 T's and 3 8-inch lengths of 3/4 inch PVC. So you're going to take one of the T's, or the 3-ways, just put that together, and then you're going to take another one of the T's, put together, and then you're going to put one more piece there and make sure these line up. Okay. Put one more on here. Now I'm going to put 2 90s. Just make sure these line up, and I'll line them up. They're not lined up perfectly, but I'll get them lined up, so just make sure they're lined up. Don't need to be perfect, just make it close. So the one thing I forgot is you may need a hammer. So once you get the 3 pieces of PVC to 3 8-inches of PVC, and the 2 3-ways or T's and the 2 90s, just put them together and just give it a little wrap, okay? This top one's a little bit off. I'll straighten that out and we'll get going. The next thing you want to do is you want to cut a small 3-inch piece of PVC, and you want to take a T and you just want to put it together and pound it in. All right? Just so you know, when it goes into the 3-way, it takes about 1 inch of the PVC. I'm going to connect it to the 90 on the other side, so it's going to take another inch of the PVC. So there'll be 1 inch in the middle. So I've got 1 inch going into the 90 that I'm going to show you here in a second, 1 inch in the middle, and 1 inch going into the 3-way. All right? So there'll be 1 inch of the 3 inches showing when we're done here. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to put one on each end of the end piece we just made, all right? So this goes into the 90. Perfect. All right, so now we got one of the 4 end pieces we're going to need. All 4 are going to be the same. All right, so you've got the 3-way connected to a little tiny 3-inch piece of PVC, connected to a 90 or a right angle, 8-inch piece of PVC, 3-way, 8-inch, 3-way, 8-inch, right angle or 90, little 3-inch piece of PVC and a 3-way. And notice the angles. This is all 3/4 inch PVC again. You're going to need 4 of these. And make sure you have a hammer or a mallet or some cement to tighten these up, because I've been using my hand and I hurt my hand. All for you guys. All right, so I know this looks a little crazy, but it should all make sense in a little bit here. And I'm not really trying to show you exactly how to do this and what exactly cuts you need to make and exactly how large it could be. I'm just showing you that using PVC and some netting and these connectors, you can make a trellis pretty easily. The next thing you're going to need is to cut 4 pieces of PVC to 60 inches and 4 pieces to 68 inches. 4 to 60, 4 to 68. All right, so now I'm going to show you, now that we have one of the 4 ends made, I've already made the other 4, I'm just going to show you how to put it together. All right, so you got your end piece. You're going to want to put the longer, the 68-inch piece of PVC in the middle too. And you're going to want to put the shorter 60-inch PVC on the end. Now I already have the other side of this built. So all I need to do is connect to the other end. And this is the 4th or 5th year. Oh. The 4th or 5th year I've been using this trellis. And I will not be doing episodes for several weeks while my hands heal. All right, so now I've got one of the sides, and I'm back in jail. But I've got one of the sides done. I've got the other side right here. And what you want to do is make sure you have these 90s, before you tighten it up too much, facing straight out. And a little trick is you can take a piece of PVC and use it to turn it. This one isn't too bad, but we're going to get it. All right. So now I've got the 2 sides put together, all right? And this is how I store it in the winter. So they just go together, and I might take some wire, some string, and tie them up. And this is a lot easier to store than some of the wooden and other contraptions that I have. So it's a great way to store these away for the winter. All right, well now we've got the 2 end pieces together. I wanted to give you a quick point about storage. So when the growing season's over, I just take the 2 end pieces and I put them together and I tie some string or maybe some wire around them to keep them together, and I just store it. And it's just a quick, easy way to store your trellises. The next thing we're going to do is get me out of jail. The next thing we're going to do is just connect these to finish the foundation of our trellis. So let's get to that. So you're going to need 4 pieces of 3/4 inch PVC. These happen to be 38.5 inches long. That doesn't matter. As long as your trellis is going to be, and it probably can go out to 60 or 70 inches, that's how long you want these 4 pieces to be. But you want them all to be the same exact size. Why I did 38.5 inches? That's probably what I had available. So you just put the first piece into the T you have on top here. Then the second piece. Then you grab your other side, and you do the same. And you flip it upside down, or right side up, or however you want to look at it. And you grab your third and fourth piece. Now here's you need to be a little careful. You don't want to put these in too tight, because you want to leave enough room on this side for these bad boys to go in. This one's out a little bit, so I'm just gonna, there we go. All right. All right. And here's one other tip. You just want to take your hammer, rubber mallet if you have it. If you can find my rubber mallet, I'd appreciate it. I'm not sure if I left it here. Maybe it's in Phoenix. And when you do this, it's going to drive it all the way down. All right. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to put it on its side. Just do the same thing. Just hit each of the corner a couple times. And this is going to tighten it up pretty good. Because what you're doing here is you're hitting the top, and if it's on cement, make sure you don't do this on grass. You want it on cement or something that's hard. It's going to just tighten up all of these connections. Go ahead and put it right side up. Now the foundation is pretty much completed. I'm going to add some netting. So on each end, you're going to have a flat area that's going to sit on the ground level of your garden. All right, so there's one on this end, and obviously, since each side is the same, there's going to be the same over here. There's going to be one over here and one over here, and this is the area that's going to sit on your garden. So next, let's put on some netting. I'm holding a piece of 5-year-old, 5-foot by 10-foot trellis netting, and the squares on this are about 5 or 6 inches wide. And let me go ahead and put this on the trellis, and I'm going to use 14 gauge wire to connect it to the trellis. So I'm just going to reuse some of the 14 gauge wire from the trellis that I used last year. And I'm going to take the 5-foot end, and I'm going to run it from top to bottom. And I'm just going to put this in place behind the 90 so that it doesn't slip away. Just give it a couple twists. Doesn't need to be that much if you're using 14 gauge wire. And again, 5 foot from top to bottom. And stretch it out good. And top go behind the 90. All right, so now I'm going to take the bottom and I'm going to tie this so that it holds the trellis down. I'm going to go over, get this out of the way, and I'll pull this over, and I'll do one in the middle. Up. All right, so pull it over, Again, you want this kind of tight. Let me get this out of the way. You want to pull this down. You want it to go underneath and around. Just give that a quick twist. All right, so now I've got the front piece done. Now I'm going to go around the middle and over to the other side. I'm going to come back to this side. I'm just going to tighten this up a little bit. Done. All right, so now I got that done. I'm just going to take this last corner piece and I'm going to tie it underneath and tighten that out. Now right here, I'll just put a couple loose pieces. Hey, if you notice a little change, it's getting a little dark out, per usual. Episode's running longer than I intended. And so now we've got the trellis built and the 4 rows of trellises. You know, each of these have trellises growing. So I've got 4 rows of trellis. And what I like about this is the 4 or 5 inches between the trellis squares allows me to reach in and grab peas and beans when they're going to start growing, okay? So that's one thing I like. The other thing is it's really nice and lightweight, and I can lift this up and move it around really super easy. And I take a piece of rebar and I stick it in a vise and I bend it kind of like a candy cane. And then I'll stick this over the legs on the bottom and I'll push it into the ground. And I'll use maybe 2 of these. I've got a bunch of them, so I'll use 4 of these. But that way, once the peas start growing and if the wind hits it, it doesn't lift it up and tear them out of the ground. Very important. And lastly, I have a 2.5 foot fence going around my entire garden, and it's about 30 by 50. So I'll put this up against the outside, on the inside, but up against the fencing. I won't put this in the middle of the garden. I'll put it up against the fencing. That way I could walk on the outside of the garden, reach through, and grab the peas or beans or whatever you have trellis. All right, well, we got the one trellis built before it gets dark. We're working on moonlight here. I've got a artificial light going. And I had another trellis built over there. We're not gonna get to that one today. Maybe I'll touch on it in a future episode. The plan is to do a episode tomorrow on sugar snap peas. So you'll see Mr. Trellis again, you'll see me again, but it's getting dark. And I'm Alan Schaefer with Custom Garden Solutions. Our channel's all about helping you grow herbs and vegetables and all kinds of cool garden stuff. If you're new to our channel and you want to learn all about growing herbs and vegetables and all kinds of cool garden stuff, then start today by subscribing and then hit the notification bell so that you don't miss anything, because you never know what I'm going to be doing next. especially how late I might be doing it, like in the dark. Everybody keeps telling me how much they love it, so here's the pepper.